Every week we gather round, stories start to flow. Eric and Mark are on the mic, ready for the show.
Welcome to another Seesaw Scenario on the Eric and Mark Playground Rules podcast. It's the first one of the year, and Mark and I are excited, nay, elated to get this thing started. 2026, the year our good and prosperous intentions stick. Today we'll be talking about what the world has grown accustomed to calling the rat race. In the Seesaw Scenario, we'll refer to it as the perpetual proverbial line. Those who are in it know exactly what we are talking about. Those who don't know, haven't lived long enough, are in the clique, in denial, or extremely blessed and somehow dodged it. This is the line wherein people that have gifts and bright futures stand in the hopes that if they beg long enough and share their gift for free long enough, the playground executive will give them the light of day. People don't realize or want to admit or accept that the line where the executives give their handouts at is not advertised. Therefore, if you saw the line you're in some job post online, you're probably in the wrong line. The question for Playground expert Mark and featured special guests and Playground experts Lassiter and Irwin is, how do we change and revert that dynamic to where instead of us being in that line begging and hoping for an opportunity to speak to that executive person that can open the door for us, the executives instead are the ones standing in line with the hopes of one day getting our time of day and our insight and our permission to go through. This dynamic shift is not about taking revenge. It's not about wanting to be the playground executive so that I can mismanage the perpetual line as they are. It is about taking what's ours without having to ask permission to anyone other than from God. This line has existed since the beginning of human organizations. The statement, "you are being out of line," is normally meant to imply a bad thing. In our case, though, I'm trying to figure out, for the good of all in it, how do we step out of line in a good way? We were taught to wait our turn. Regretfully, others aren't, and sometimes, more often than not, those who wait their turn perpetually lose out to those who cut in. As a believer in God, I personally believe that if you continue to do right in due time, good things will happen. But I also believe that just hoping for mankind to do the right thing is also a big, big mistake. How say you, Playground expert panel?
Happy 2026. Happy New Year to all. Praying for everyone's peace, prosperity, and health and wellness in this new year. Such a pleasure and privilege to join this podcast, Eric and Mark's podcast, talking about playground rules. We're talking about the rat race, something that has plagued organizations, workforce for a long time. How do we utilize our talents? How do we move up and move ahead without causing too much of the disturbance, without singling ourselves out? These are questions that have plagued many great minds, many great workers, many great contributors over the years. One thing I have found, and I am finding out, is that while continuing to get your peace of mind and your guidance from the Lord above, if you are a believer, we have to continue to put the work forward to try and maneuver ourselves out of that line, and maybe talking to co-workers or individuals who are like mine, who can give you those different avenues that you can maybe take. We know that these kinds of issues will continue to plague society as a whole. We know everybody can't sit at the top. We know everybody can't get promoted. But maybe, just maybe, if we continue to seek those opportunities elsewhere, maybe seek education in your area, maybe in a respectful manner, confront those at the top, maybe through your chain of command, maybe we can see some change there. Again, these are things that are going to require significant meditation and work, significant help and progress to minimize those rat race issues. I'm interested to see what everybody else thinks. Thank you again for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Officer Lassiter. I am deeply honored and humbled to have been invited to participate in this podcast as we discuss the concept of the playground rules. This is a concept that is new to me. However, I had been exposed to it multiple times in different settings and did not know that was the specific name for it. In reference to this concept, I have three possible ideas to challenge or even circumvent the said playground rules that have been mentioned earlier. First of which is the concept of managing laterally instead of top down or bottom up. Many times in paramilitary organizations, we are exposed to top down or bottom up variants of leadership, when in actuality, sometimes we are better off managing laterally by enabling a network of non-leadership individuals or subject matter experts in this arena in order to possibly circumvent or work around bad management or bad leadership at certain areas, levels, and certain entities. The second concept is to put your skill set on display for those that would take an interest in what you bring to the table. For example, by teaching or presenting at conferences, speaking to K through 12 students, college students, and thirdly, volunteering or assisting with your knowledge base in a cause or realm you care about. As we all know, the scripture says, work without faith, faith without works is dead. So the ability to put the work in, whether it be Samaritan's Purse or in reference to other causes, benefits everyone. And thank you for your time.
So first, I want to say thank you to both Officers Irwin and Lassiter for joining our program. You guys have some outstanding insight. You articulated it very well, especially given it was your first time here, and I hope to see and hear you many more times. And yeah, you both expanded on some very important points. Officer Irwin talking about, continually, looking for ways to look for how to at least challenge that chain of authority and move our way up, and combining that with kind of like a meditation, and also hard work. Eventually you keep on challenging that system, and eventually you get noticed, and eventually you get some rewards. I really like how Officer Lassiter had talked about making yourself known. Put your skills on display, especially your marketable skills, and whether that's in the workplace or in a voluntary situation, you end up getting noticed. I love that you guys are thinking that way. It's very interesting that, the playground is one of those things that's kind of like, they talked about the movie The Matrix. We always known that something was wrong with the world, but we didn't know quite what it was. This is the playground. For us, this is the playground. The playground has been what's wrong with the world for many, many years, decades, maybe millenniums even, And here we are. Our generation, it has to begin with us, whatever generation we are, or, our time on this earth, to say, now it's time to challenge the status quo. If you want to be polite and you want to let somebody get in front of you just because you're being polite, fine, If you don't want to be rude, any number of things. If one day you're feeling a little antisocial and shy, fine, let somebody get in front of you, maybe at the front of the line. But eventually, in a rather diplomatic, strategic way, you're going to have to push yourself to the front of that line, make yourself heard, make yourself known, be proud of who you are. You've got people or things or, the Lord, whatever you believe in. Your resources are the wind blowing at your back. And you have to be ready to showcase those things, because if you're just going to stay in the shadows or wait for people to direct you all the time, like I said, you may not get the results that you want. Eventually, you got to push your way to the front of that line, make yourself known, make yourself seen, make yourself heard, and eventually we can go ahead and circumvent some of those challenges, as the guys were saying, and push our way closer to the top. Remember who's good to you along the way, and make sure to take care of them too.